Hello, welcome back, fellow Depthsians. It's been quite some time. I actually recorded a few videos doing showcase of some of my units late last year, which is late 2023, but I realized the format of those videos are a bit too long, so I decided to not publish them, and then it's quite time-taking to edit those videos if I'm talking during the video as well. So I think I'm gonna try some different new format where I'm just gonna be more cognizant of um, how I'm recording. So I'll break down the recording to more manageable little chunks in the recording process. So there'll be less, just be less footage recorded and then less editing afterwards as well. A little bit more planning ahead. So let's see how it goes. First three units are kind of similar series where they use burst-based weapons. Um, Initially, the kinetic beam weapon is just um, a burst-based sandblaster projectile. Uh, it was developed to erode the front armor of a scarab. Um, and I realized it's quite efficient at taking down kind of concentrated front armor units. And this was before the plasma release. So I developed one tank that kind of barely has any volume. Like the armor, there's a lot of applique armor to round out. Um, we're very volume efficient kind of design, volume minimalist, I guess. To fill out the bulk that's needed to power this railgun, and still stay under the volume limit for ashes. So that one, and I scale up to 10 of these guns, strapped it into an airship, and this is my advanced airship. The aesthetic is based off of the Andromeda Ascendant sci-fi space science fantasy series from the 90s or early 2000s. Hard to keep track of these times. But yeah, I'm kind of dating myself with that comment. So there's a lot of redundant design in this ship, and then most of it's with the tank gun spread out all over. And then most of its generating capacity is in this external power supply unit. And then after the plasma update, I installed a breadboard controlled plasma pulse weapon into this little hover tank here. This one is designed to take down boss units in Ashes of the Empire because um, each of these module is under the 2500 volume limit, but all combined together becomes a fairly large vehicle. So hopefully this doesn't break. Let's just quickly see how the vehicle assembles. It's quite nifty, isn't it? And hopefully it should grab his little drone as well. That's quite cool. So this is actually the first of my new series of fan-based hover tanks. There's a lot of deco, so it looks solid on the outside, but it's actually fairly empty on the inside to make up the volume that's required. All right, let's see how our ship performs against the Sovereign. This is the Hadron Cascade here again. So you can see it's firing uh, the Sun Blasters as a almost solid beam at its target. It's got a designating laser just to kind of better show where it's shooting at. So it's almost a plasma-like effect. It's just drilling through the armor at one concentrated point. This reduces the chance of overpen. Let's see, so hopefully we drill through the front left compartments of the Sovereign. Excuse the loudness of the gun. So yeah, you can see CGAE is falling out already. Um, so the idea of this weapon is just to combine the best of uh, large kinetic shells with uh, the rate of fire of sandblasters, and also, yeah, it's wow. We're lucky with the aim point select is right drilling through the ship. So we disable the steam engine and the guns are not firing. That's pretty good. I may have retrofitted the ship with a advanced aim point selection system where if um, if the aim point is doing good damage, then it will not change aim point. It's just a breadboard function for calculating damage, and that may not be the case. That may just be lucky. Uh, yeah, so we've been very lucky with aim points in this little bout. It's been just under a few minutes. Oh, and I think we crashed our power supply unit, unfortunately, but looks like we still have enough charge in the battery banks to keep firing. So yeah, there you go. I think that's as good a demo as any for the kinetic beam weapon. So it fires about 11 shells in each gun, and if you look at the shells, let's see if you can see it firing. It's probably AI dead. It's not firing. Oh, okay. So the first shell is a sable shell. That gives us a good firepower value to look at. It's just a nice number, nice big number. The second shell here it's a disruptor shell just to burst down the shields, and then some in here somewhere there's a certain percentage mix of heavy heads as well, just so if we penetrate we can do quite decent damage against internal components. So yeah, very tedious to set all this up, but as you can see, the result is quite worth it. Is it better than plasma? It's hard to say. I, I tend to mix up this type of weapon with plasma sometimes. It's fairly decent. Very happy with the results. Let's see how our Hovertank does against um, one of these cheaty twin guard boss units, the Nemesis. Oh, am I holding on to these weapons? Yes. Okay, let's go. It's very satisfying to see the plasma cannons fire. It's just a it's a burst. The accuracy does leave a little bit to be desired, but it's pretty cool. See how we're doing. So for all these burst-based weapons, is breadboard control, so I can actually it's not control innate to the weapon. So that means I can turn off the breadboard timer if certain situations demand it. For example, if I want to use these burst weapons as part of point defense, I can switch them to continuous firing rather than burst firing. Or if a small aircraft enters the air defense parameter of the craft, and they'll prioritize those targets first. Got these four little Seawiz no, it's actually single purpose Seawiz guns. They just fire flak, I believe. They're more decorative, just to have like tiny turrets located around the hull of the craft. One other thing you can see this craft doing is angling the side of the armor, so we're getting armor erosion all around the frontal arc rather than concentrated in any specific points. This damage isn't looking too great. I think we destroyed this repair unit. Okay, I think we're doing good. So there's a lot to get through. Let's move on to the next crafts. So next up, we have two melee-based units. Uh, One is much more cheaty than the other. So this is um, a twin guard style combo unit, and it's got, well, how do you say it? Um, two nuclear spears. Uh, yeah, I don't know what else I can say. It's pretty obvious. The nuke spears, I think, is a bit cheaty, even though campaign twin guard units also use them. And here it's a very cheap unit based on Dark Eldar design. This Dark Eldar based design is designed to very cost effectively take down kind of like low level fortresses and damage units that have a high armor block count but weak weapons. And it's kind of niche, but a lot of my units are designed to be high performance, so they have very high kind of fuel consumption. So this is something that kind of takes down the cheaper stuff. All right, here's the first test with this unit. Not like super happy with it, obviously. Charge, yeah. Because it's a lightweight unit that's designed for melee. So already that's kind of a difficult combo to get it right. Oh dear. Please target that thing, not the little helicopter. Okay, so there may be some issue with target priority. So one thing about this is it's fan base, so if it dips into the water, it's not a big deal. Oh, what happened there? Okay, so I guess that is quite effective in a very specialized niche role. Uh, okay, so I don't have God mode on. As you can see, I took no damage, and uh, yeah, a lot of my units use kinetic weapons, which are good meta against airships, heavily defended units, but really terrible against something like installations that is mostly empty space. So that's why we have something like this. Yeah, it's quite difficult to make a melee unit that's lightweight and also high speed. Need to be really careful about the points of contact and making sure we don't damage ourselves more than the enemy. So that's the trick with this unit. Here we can have a bit more close-up view of this mech. It's pretty cool. Um, yeah, it's got a lot going on. It's got these diff guns, it's got two nuke spears, it's got plasma cannons and missiles. But really, the nuke is what does the job. And then it's got a lot of point defenses. I think a lot of these range weapons are just for like tiny circling enemies. For example, Hake squadrons, just to give a little bit of air defense. Let's have a look. Oh, and uh, impetus for building this is I figure out how to create good breadboard, whatchamacallit, based leg animations. You can see now it's trotting at a low speed, and when it gets to a high speed, it starts galloping. So I developed a breadboard that can switch between two different modes of was just two animation cycles, and then there's a switch that controls which cycle gets transmitted to the joint channels. It's pretty cool. Uh, what is a good enemy for it? Okay, let's see if we can get some mech on mech action. One problem with this kind of unit, any kind of these animatronic units, is that um, oh shit, um, the armor is quite thin, so it's very hit and miss if they're able to burst us down before we close into range. But as you can see, that seemed to have worked quite well against some of the more bulkier Steel Strider units. The spears do have a little bit of a trouble hitting. And then, yeah, we have a little bit of issue with these diff gun angles, etc. So, yeah, it's when it works well, it's really good, but it does have a little bit of a hit and miss. The cavalry is here, and I think in the scheme of naming mechs starting with A and end with T, Atrocity is a very fitting name for this mech. And yeah, the breadboarding this crap almost killed me. That's almost broke my brain. It's quite a big job. All right, I think that's it for this episode. This is a little bit of a sneak peek into what we're gonna be seeing for the next episode. So just in interest of keeping it short, thanks guys for watching. And if you like the content here for From the Depths, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.